Before I continue with this, I just want to say that this video was prepared before the release of 3.7, so just in case this feels a little dated to what we now know about his story. I'd also like to thank @LoveTillDeath5402. I really appreciate their input cause, dear mercy, do the Chrysosers love throwing curveballs at me. But now then, let's continue on with the video. Let's put it this way. Phainon, my baby boy, why did you make me suffer? He's become one of my favorite characters in the series. I love his story, his design, the lore behind him. He just won me over way too quickly in 3.0 and I have not gone back on it at all. And I must admit I got really giddy during that one animation. But anyway, we know what's coming after all of that, and I ain't gonna hide it. But I also added my own personal flares to the build, just to make it a bit more of my own personal interpretations of it. Let's not linger any longer here. There's a crisis air we need to create, for the sake of D&D. Phainon. Kaslana. Phainon of Ides Elysiae. The one who carried the flame of world-bearing, and the one who burned like the blazing sun, hoping for a tomorrow that would come to their world. He also has the perfect D&D story, I won't lie. A boy from a remote village who wants to see the world, ends up witnessing the horrors and comes out of it completely different from the person he used to be. You guys have experienced that too, right? Or was that just me? So, of course, I made Phainon an Aasimar. I've also realized that I've done Aasimars for almost all of the Crisis Heirs already, but you can't really blame me for it. Aasimars are descendants from celestial beings. They look human, but have divine heritages. Good by nature, destined to become heroes and whatnot. I guess I could switch it up a bit, but not for this one. I just feel like it also unifies them a lot, if that makes sense. Aasimars have increases to their charisma and wisdom. They have dark vision, resistance to necrotic and radiant damage. They also have special spells for themselves. But the one you'll most likely get to see with this build is the light cantrip. Paladins, am I right? Speaking of that, I did split the two classes as evenly as possible with 4 levels in Paladin and 3 levels in Barbarian. I usually choose level 7 specifically for these builds cause I want to show off how powerful your character can become without overloading you guys with information of a higher level. That and making a level 3 character would be very boring for these videos. Anyway, for his Paladin side, we went with Oath of the Crown. The loyal, courageous and proud guardians of their people and rulers. Here are the tenets that they must uphold, and I think they're very fitting for Phainon, I won't lie. Of course, he has the dueling fighting style because swords are cool. For his channel divinity, you can compel a creature to fight you, which reminds me of his ultimate where he goes full boss mode. Creatures of your choice 30 feet from you have to make a wisdom saving throw, and if they fail, they can't willingly move 30 feet away from you until they either die or are incapacitated or are just moved somehow 30 feet away, one way or another. Or you can use your channel divinity to bolster your allies in battle. Anyone of your choice 30 feet from you who can hear you gain 1d6 plus charisma temporary hit points, if they have no more than half of their hit points left. Also, by the way, because I want to mention it, because it makes sense for Phainon's character specifically, at level 7 of Oath of the Crown, you can substitute your hit points for an ally's 5 feet from you, meaning they don't take damage and you take it instead. It just fits his character so painfully. Even though it's only for level 7, I'm just throwing it in there just so you guys know about it. Now for the Barbarian side of the build. I at first wanted to give him just 2 levels in it, just to access rage and reckless attack, but I was persuaded otherwise later on. Path of the Zealot are warriors who channel their rage into divine power. It sounds very familiar, right? At level 3 you gain 2 abilities. Divine Fury, where when you're raging, you can deal extra damage equal to 1d6 plus your Barbarian level. You can choose either to do necrotic or radiant damage. You also get the Warrior of the Gods ability, and that first line hit me so hard on the side of the head that it also insulted my mother somehow. If your character gets downed or killed in battle, the cost to bring them back does not need to use any components when bringing them back to life. Anyway, for his ability scores, I'd add his highest points to his strength. Then charisma, constitution, wisdom, dexterity, and then intelligence will have to be his lowest stat. For his background, I kinda just went with soldier for him. Not just because it gives him nice proficiencies, but also because it makes sense for story reasons. I would have gone with folk hero for him, but I didn't like the proficiencies that came with it. So I am just mixing and matching everything to make it make sense. For his feat, I went with slasher for him. It gives him an increase to his strength or dexterity, and once per turn, you can hit a creature with slashing damage and reduce their speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. And if you score a critical hit on them, you can grievously wound them, causing them to roll at a disadvantage on their attack rolls, which is always useful. He doesn't have any unique languages that he knows, so let's move on to his proficiencies instead. I gave him proficiency in Dragon Chess as his gaming set because I can see him learning it from a Glaya at some point, just for the fun of it. I also gave him Persuasion and Insight, mainly because he's a charismatic guy, and also because of him knowing about the cycles and going through them over and over again. That poor man. As for his magic, he does instantly get Command and Compel Duel as an Oath of the Crown Paladin, but I feel like that suits him very well. As for the ones that I picked out for him, I went with Wrathful Smite, because it's a good reference to his abilities, as well as his battle with the destruction. Divine Favor I see as a regular skill, or as a nod to him before everything happened. Similarly, Bless is another ability that I can see him carrying over from his original self, as well as Shield of Devotion. I'm also adding him just in case they're needed at some point, in case it can save your teammates, you know? As for his equipment, I'd start with the easy stuff like a plain short sword. Depending on how likely you're going to use his barbarian side, I would also give him a breastplate. You can upgrade them over time as you play, you know? And finally, it is time. Honestly, Phainon's story doesn't really need to be changed too much. Just a few tweaks here and there to actually make the story make sense. I think that's another reason why I love him so much. He literally has the template of a tragic hero. And for a tragic hero, he needs a good tale to tell of himself. So this is what I've got for him. There once was a town that was forever covered in autumnal leaves. A simple place where children could run around through the wheat fields, catching bugs, making up stories about fairies hiding in a secret grove in the depths of the orange-red woods. The boy loved his home more than anything in the world. Those days where he could ride on his father's cart through the farmlands, or play pretend with his best friend, using sticks as swords and hitting scarecrows until the locals would chase them away, yelling at them for causing trouble again. He was young back then. He was carefree. A weaver noticed a young drifter walking through the streets, barefoot and covered in ashen blood. She could not tell if it were his or someone else's, and yet she approached him, helping him into her shop and preparing a hot meal for him after his long journey, escaping the tragedy that unfolded upon their borders. Many years later, he would come across the weaver again, bathed in gold upon the streets ravaged by war. He remembered speaking to a seer, a young girl they called the Holy Maiden. She gave him a destiny to end the bloodshed that had unfolded upon their lands. She believed that he would be the one to deliver them to a brighter tomorrow. Many years later, she would sacrifice herself to protect her people, giving her life so that other children would not have to face the fate that she had foreseen for herself. Deliverer, you must lead us forward. Don't worry about us. We will look after them for you. We will live to see that tomorrow with the radiance of stars. Until the next life, Deliverer, when the truth is revealed and our tomorrow is within our reach once more. But he was never meant to be the deliverer. He was never meant to bring forth that tomorrow everyone wished for. Not when the cycle continued like this. Not when there was no end in sight of the bloodshed. He remembered the burning fire within him that used to give him the drive to become a hero. Now it left him in cinders, leaving him nothing but a hollow shell of who he used to be. He recalled the bright sun of his hometown, the laughter of the children, and his best friend approaching him the same way she did when they used to have that conversation. "What is your greatest wish?" He looked towards the dark sky, the fire raging around him as he felt his body crumble beneath the weight of such destruction. His consciousness was fading, and yet he clung on to the hope of that tomorrow, that it would be granted to their people. "My wish?" He had smiled at her. He had smiled towards the endless darkness above him. Slowly he felt himself scatter, his name fading from everyone's memories. "My wish is to grant everyone else's wishes." Okay, maybe I left it a little too open-ended at the end there. I kind of wanted you to choose how you want to interpret it. Whether you want him to have lost his memories or is frozen in time or reawoken a new era or something like that. Or you want him to be captured and locked in jail only to break out at some point. I mean, most good D&D stories have them in jail, right? Also, if you want, you can start with him being a pure paladin and then build him into a barbarian over time. It helps with the role-playing and makes him more interesting as a character. By the way, because I forgot to mention it earlier, when you're raging as a barbarian, you don't get access to any of your paladin spells. I'm just throwing it out there because I know I'd forget. I don't want other people to be smited by their TMs. Anyway, here is the Phainon build. My baby boy. He deserved so much better. And I'm digging myself into a hole again. I don't care, he's perfect. Besides that though, thank you guys for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you like. Thank you to @LoveTillDeath5402 for this build. I really appreciate your insight. I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.